thank you. Just because you spoke doesn't mean so you can chat at the time. Okay, so third talk of the evening. I'd like to introduce to you Miell, who has been in the industry for God knows how long. I won't spoil you. Too long. Big name in the Docker world, big name in the Bash world. He's going to tell you about why Bash is awesome. Everyone think Bash is awesome, by the way? Yes. And Ian is going to tell you why. So hopefully this will just be one big love him. Ian, thank you.
Thank you. So if I get too quiet, do let me know, because I have a tendency to mumble, so please let me know. So originally this was called Bash's, well I want to call it Bash Awesome, which is basically going to talk about some of the things about Bash that are awesome. But I'm not, I don't think Bash is awesome. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But just to get to how I got here, I wrote a book called Docker in Practice about 4 years ago when I was working for a startup where I had roots everywhere, and I moved to a large enterprise, a well-known blue bank, and I have implemented or helped a team implement OpenShift. Happy to talk about that as well if you've got any questions about that. But so I did a lot of stuff with Docker, and then I work a 4-day week, so I have a day off every week. And on one of those days off, occasionally I do training, and I train usually Git. Train people how to use Git. And a training company approached me and said, "What else could you train on?" And I said, "Well, I think Bash is under-trained." And they said, "Yeah, fair enough. Put together a Bash course, and we'll try and sell it." So I spent, a couple of months on the train, tapping away, learning about Bash, things I'd never really properly figured out, and came up with this course. And they couldn't sell the course; no one was interested because, how important is Bash anyway?
So it's kind of a sob story, yeah?
It's a sob story. It's a sob story. So I ended up with the material. I went to my publisher and I said, I've got this material. Can we turn it into something? And they were like, "No one cares about Bash." So I put it on GitHub for free, and no one downloaded it. They started. And I thought, am I the only person in the world who thinks Bash is important, or at least interesting enough to learn in a more structured way? The problem with how did you all learn Bash? Sorry? Trial and error.
Turned on computer.
So Stack Overflow. How the hell do I do this in Bash? Oh, that works, great. Bash scripting guide, which tend to be, that's a good one, but a lot of them tend to be fairly impenetrable. The man page is fantastic, but it can be hard work. I don't think it's ever, no one, but very few people study Bash formally, not taught it at college. IRC, yeah, it's all bits and pieces. And eventually, at some point, you might dig out the man page and read it, or do something else. And I feel quite passionately that the way to learn. Has anyone heard of the hard way method of learning? Yeah, is that familiar to people? Yeah. So Zed Shaw, who's I think he's a trainer now full time, or author full time, when he's not painting. He came up with this idea of the hard way, which means not that you learn everything about the subject, or you learn which order the operators are evaluated in, which is how every programming book used to start. But you learn by doing. And so I've written this course, which was, you have to type in every command. It illustrates a point, and you go through the process of thinking about what's going on. Anyway, that's how I got here. I then published it after no one looked at it on GitHub. I published it on LeanPub over Christmas. And blown away, it's been really popular, it's sold a lot. I put a couple of posts on Hacker News, they blew up massively. And it was, it was like opening a fire hose. So anyway, again, how many people here use Bash? Pretty much, yeah, more or less everyone. How many people love Bash? More than I expected. I was recently in a meeting with a bunch of OpenShift users in the financial services industry, talking to Red Hat, and as part of the discussion, someone at Red Hat said, "Da da 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 da," and no one likes bash, right? And everyone kind of nodded. And then outside the room, look, yeah, I like bash too. So it's everyone's dirty little secret. Does anyone here use PowerShell? Okay. Isn't it boring?
Slow?
Slow? Okay, yeah, I don't know about speed.
Try not to run into the Raspberry Pi, it will be quite good.
It's available in Linux. I didn't know that until I looked it up the other day. But it is. I find it really dull because it's kind of well designed.
Extremely well designed.
Too well designed. It's boring. I don't think anyone
will be proud of that statement.
Yeah. No, I mean it's like it's quite dull. Anyway, I'm talking too long. So what I'm going to talk about tonight, right? I'm not going to do what is in my book. I'm going to talk about why you should learn Bash, or why you should think about taking it more seriously. Some top tips. So I did a couple of posts which blew up on Hacker News, and some things out there were particularly popular, not well known. I'm going to cover some of those. There will be a test. So, and I'm not going to give the answers. And if anyone's got a laptop, you're not allowed to use it while it's going on. And then I'm going to show you a couple of cool things at the end. Right, why Bash? Okay, so, I like Bash, but I wouldn't write a web server. I wouldn't write all sorts of things in it. But my first law of software is everything degrades to a Bash script. My experience of every software project, more or less, involves some Bash somewhere that's critical to it. Okay? Sorry?
What's your name, actually?
Okay. And looking, or a C program, right? So I wouldn't say it degrades to a C program, I'd say it raises up to a C program, so that's another story. So I found this quote on Hacker News a while ago, which kind of sums it up pretty well. Bash has many cringeworthy aspects, but we have to deal with the world as it is, not with the world we like it to be. The reality is that Bash is a default shell on 99.9% of Unix boxes you encounter, even if you use an old shell on your machine. There are things like Dash and so on, but they're pretty much the same.
Sounds like Internet Explorer.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time when you just kind of had to know about Internet Explorer whether you liked it or not. We had performance issues with IE6 on the site. So, co-workers machine, Bash. Default AWS AMI, Bash. Init script to a bootstrap daemon, Bash, and so on and so on. And I will add to that list. If you've done Jenkins pipelines, you probably end up writing a Bash script to glue something together somewhere. If you write chef recipes, anyone here write chef? Do you have to deal with nasty Rubocop?
Yeah.
Right? It's a get out of jail free card for that. I probably shouldn't talk too much about that, but it is a way of getting around certain limitations in Chef itself or in your environment in which you run Chef. Startup scripts or S2I build and OpenShift. I mean, I'm sure you can think of many examples where Bash is used to glue something together. It's also surprisingly powerful. It's very well documented. It's mature, to put it kindly, and everything that can be done in Bash probably has been. Okay, so that's why you should take it seriously. Okay, so some things you may not know about Bash, or things that it can do. So who here has written something like this? Output to a file, kind of thing, output to another file, diff to 2 files, remove the 2 files. Is that familiar? Familiar pattern? Yeah. So this operator, which isn't that well known, allows you to be much more concise. Instead of doing the above, you can do this, which is diff, the output of this, and the output of that. So basically, wherever you have a file, you can put this content, you can put the content of the command in there. It will substitute that file in for you as a temporary file, and that one is done.
Looks like PowerShell.
Sorry?
Looks like PowerShell.
Yeah, so that was the most kind of popular thing that stood out to people. There is a similar operator that goes the other way. I have never, explaining it is a nightmare to people, and I've never seen a real world use for it. But it does exist. Okay. Ever written anything like this? Yeah. If variable equals blank, then you need to set that pencil on. Finish.
Can you use my hand too?
Anyone know how to?
Hyphen Z,
Sorry.
hyphen small Z, I believe.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, so you can use another operator to binary operator for that.
Colon question mark.
Or you can do this: set minus u, and then if any variable doesn't exist or hasn't been set, it'll throw an error and throw it at the variable. Really handy for situations where, like, if you do an rm minus rf variable name slash variable name, you won't delete your
RM minus RF staff.
Yeah, if you do rf, let's imagine that's a folder name, and you do rm minus rf slash folder name. Okay, it's a packet. This will kind of protect you from that.
It usually happens once.
It only happens once. Yeah, you only do it once. And you're fine.
There's an option hyphen A or hyphen D you have to do. It warns before deleting.
On automation, that doesn't work.
Yeah, if you're not interactive, it won't work. So there are various set options which are useful. I always set EUX pretty much on every bash script I run, and it makes it far more robust and easier to debug.
You also pass those flags to the bash.
Yeah, so you can, instead of doing set minus u, you can just do /bin /bash minus u. If you prefer. Okay. I've written something like this: cd blah, cd minus. Yeah. You can simplify by putting it in a subshell. The subshell creates a new environment, and then when you're out, you're back to where you were. It's a minor improvement, but a lot of people don't know about subshells. This is less of a tip than advice. Has anyone debugged Bash startup before? Yeah. It's a nightmare. Trying to figure out which one is first and so on is as complicated as this graph. My advice is, I'll post this online. Steal this image. It's not mine, it's someone else's. I stole it from them. And download it, just keep it somewhere safe, because there will come a time when you're probably trying to figure out why on earth that thing gets set here, but when it's interactive it gets set, when it's non-interactive it doesn't get set. I'm not going to explain the diagram. Basically, it divides into two halves. You decide which path you're going down based on this, and then you follow it there. It's not the easiest to follow, but that's how complicated startup is. Okay. Sequences. Did you know you could do this in Bash? Get 1 to 10, but it goes reverse as well, so do Z to A. Okay, everyone does that. Traps.
And you could do enumerated lists as well with commas.
Yep.
Yes. So if you want to create 10 files, 9 files, the same name, you do file curly braces a 1, 9, creating all for you.
You can also do 001 to 100 and we'll pads with zeros.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. One thing, I thought it was ASCII based, so I tried to do 1 to Z, and that didn't work. You learn something every time you talk. Traps are really useful. I use them in most scripts. There are a lot of subtleties around them if you really want to get into them. Like, does everyone know what trap does, by the way? Sorry. Yeah. So whenever a signal is sent to a process, if you hit Control-C, the signal gets sent to your process. I can't remember which one I believe it's called term. Yeah. Trap says, when you get this signal, go to this function and do stuff. So cleanup's the classic one. And I'll show you an example where I used it yesterday later. But yeah, it's very handy. It gets pretty complicated. I once read up on what happens when it gets a signal while it's in the function, and it got pretty hairy. But for most purposes, that's fine. It doesn't catch everything. If it suspends, it doesn't catch that. If you get kill -9, it doesn't catch that. A hard kill. But for most purposes, it's a pretty useful thing to know about. There's loads of shortcuts you can use in Bash. The problem is you can't learn all of them at once. So just start with one and work down. But these are the ones I use on a regular basis. In fact, I don't bother with this one, but it's other people like to point it out. So bang bang, you all know that's last command. Bang dollar, last argument of last command. when you learn this, you never stop using it. Dozens of times.
Actually, you can do also alt dot or escape dot, but that's interactive only, and you can
Escape dot.
Yeah, if you do escape dot, it will maybe write on read line the
That's not in the manual.
and you use probably more often than this.
Ah, okay.
Is that a terminal feature or a bash feature?
It's
Is it read line?
It's a good question. No, it's not a terminal feature. It's in the shell.
Okay.
It's read line, I think.
It's what you said, it's a metric code. You need alt dot as well.
See, there's so much interesting about it, right?
Another book I'm coming.
So this one is first and second arguments to the last command. This is first to the last argument to the last command, or that is the same as that. But I tend to use this because that way I always remember the syntax. And this one I use very, very often. So if you do like a vi or emacs slash the path to file, and then you go, oh, I actually want to go into that folder, then that will take you to the folder. It's easy, that will take you to the folder. Very handy. This is a bit more esoteric and probably less practical, but Bash allows you to open sockets natively within itself. So what's going on here? It's creating a socket. So we're insulting port 80. This file does not exist. It's a virtual file. Bash basically figures out, oh, that thing doesn't exist on the virtual file system. It must mean to connect to that. Creates it on file handle 3. Then you can do a get, like you would in telnet, on that socket, and then cut the output out. Never really had to use it, but if you're stuck on a machine that's blitzed and only has Bash, it doesn't have telnet or netcat or socat or anything, very handy.
It doesn't always work. I think it's a file name option that's
Oh, really?
quite often deceived.
Well, it could be versions as well. If it's version 3, it won't be there. And Mac ships by default with 3.0 something. So if you're using a Mac, brew install Bash to get there. I had to learn that the hard way. So putting some of these together is something I wrote the other day to print out all the hex values and what they output in the script. And the other day I wrote.
Is that coming up with every hex number?
Yeah, so it's 0 to 9, A to H, every combination tells you what the
Password is.
yeah what the hex value shows as in Bash on term. So I wrote this the other day. I thought it was opposite. So I was I use some of these techniques here. So I have a lot of projects on GitHub, and I often go to a new laptop and I just want to download.
Sorry, could you move it a bit to the right?
Sure.
Better to move a project once.
You just get another projector.
Is that too far?
It's
Too far.
There we go.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, and I often go to a new laptop and I've got hundreds of projects and I want to access them all. I want them all to be up to date. So what this does is it goes, gets my usernames, repos, does some grep magic, said to get my project names, goes into that folder, does a git pull. If it failed, it adds it to a list of failures. And if I control C or whatever, when it finishes, it tells me which recipes didn't pull okay. I tried to write that in. Could try writing that in Python or something, but it's quite painful. Even in Tickle, which is another string-based language I use, would be quite difficult as well. And that took me about 5 minutes to get something working. And then obviously iterating was relatively easy and fun. Okay, pop quiz. What will this output? Cool. Anyone want to guess?
1
B.
B is correct.
You told us you wouldn't tell us the right answer.
It might not be.
Well, the later questions are harder and I don't know the answer. Okay. This is trickier. So, if you're not familiar with backticks, it replaces the backtick. Two backticks will replace the output command into the command. So echo minus in without the echo minus in one. This does the same more or less, but there's a difference between the two. So, anyone?
So you're excluding number one, or?
It's number two.
Yeah, it's number two. So while this nests, this is not. So you end up with one, and it says, the backticks are terminated. So I'll just print out this, and then the backticks are here, and then these last pair of backticks, nothing in them. So print out nothing. You end up with this. However, this nests. So first does this, drops that in here, then does that, drops that in here, and does that, drops that in here. That puts 1, 2, 3s. Sure to be expected.
Don't use backticks.
Never use backticks. It's basically the lesson. But you might have to debug someone else's code or where they've used it. So
What's the difference between backticks and
they're the same thing. This later.
outside of the nesting?
I don't think there is. Oh, I don't know. I don't think there is any other difference. I think historically this came first.
Is it POSIX?
Possibly.
SID. Backticks is
Oh,
you don't
backticks.
have a dollar bracket and dollar parenthesis in music.
Right. So Bash introduced this as an alternative.
Every modern shell has a ladder syntax, I believe.
As what, sorry?
I believe every modern shell has a ladder syntax.
That.
The latter, as
Oh, the
opposed
latter.
to the former, has a
Uh,
dollar bracket syntax,
every modern shell.
I believe.
What's a modern shell?
Something
like PowerShell.
PowerShell doesn't count as a shell.
Okay.
Sadly. Okay, Rick.
This one's.
SH like.
I didn't know the answer to this when I first tried it. So we're in a folder, one file called one
number
file.
two.
Number
That's going to be one file star.
Yeah, it is.
Second.
I thought maybe the quotes, the single quotes would make it.
Is this it?
Sorry, the double quotes would expand, but no. Okay, I wrote this in Bash, and I wrote this in Python. They do the same thing. Which one's faster?
Bash.
Because we don't need to load Python first, yeah?
So I wrote this to prove that Bash was slower. Well, not prove, but to demonstrate how much Bash was slower. And to my surprise, they were the same. And there's a link to the test I did.
Did you find the startup of the runtime or not?
Well, it runs it 1,000 times, so.
Is the typo in your test?
Depend upon this infrastructure.
Sorry?
Depends upon the infrastructure where we can.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But, I mean, I ran it a few times and it was always more or less the same amount. I was expecting Bash to be like 3 times slower, 10 times slower maybe. Bash is usually considered slow because you're calling out to exec a lot of other processes. So when you're using native Bash weird terminology like this, it's surprisingly quick because basically it's doing the same as this, which is probably going down.
Can I see your actual Python code again? Because can I see your actual Python code? Because on the slide you've misspelled footer on the password error.
Oh no, yeah, so someone pointed out to me that actually this strips all the characters. So footer has 2 O's in it, pointless. You only need the 1 O.
Okay.
So it's a subtlety. It's not exactly the same thing, but close enough.
How did you time?
How did I time it?
Did you take into account, how long does it take to fire the bash script? I mean, bash as a parser and the Python.
So it does both 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But did you do a bash minus C, the same way that you do Python minus C?
I just thought Bash would be so slow compared to startup time that it didn't matter.
The thing is, Python has to pre-compile the tokens before it runs running and runs speed code.
Yes.
So the trade-off is going to depend on the size of the initial program.
Yeah, I mean, most bash scripts I've run of any size in production have been shit slow, right? So I was expecting it to be comparatively really slow. You wouldn't notice it on the terminal running it, but I was expecting. Exactly, that's what makes it slow. And if you do that in any language, it's going to be slow. So yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. Finally, a couple of things a couple of sort of cool stuff. Do you want to use shell check? It's a great way to learn bash. Get all your colleagues' scripts and put them in here and tell them all the mistakes they've made. So I picked of course all my scripts passed this first time with no problem. So I found another script. I just Googled gist bash script. Did
it pass from the very beginning or after several days of
anyway, yeah, so it tells you all the problems with it, but more importantly explains why. It gives you a link to something. It's a great way to learn because you actually feel that you're perfecting your own work or your colleagues' work, and you understand, better why it's a problem in a real context. So that's a great way to learn.
It looks like the time is over. Pizza's here.
Nearly done. Someone wrote 2048 in bash. Who has been addicted to that? I was very addicted to it. Let's see.
Move the screen aside.
So I thought it was pretty good, and the code is really very well done. And it even saves state for you.
So it's playing for you, saving state for you, doing everything.
If I do, okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
So I feel a bit like Dave Gorman. And I think we can now all agree that modern day bash is good. No, it's awesome. Right?
It is better.
Okay. Any of you got any questions for him?
He's already
Is there enough of you lot? Okay. Pizzas are here. Great talk. Ian, Martin, if you want to get an advanced run-up on the pizza, go now. No, seriously, like, people come and do these talks and they get cornered at the lectern and they're like, so please go now. Oh, seriously, go right now. Who wants a pizza?
I'm not having it.
You're not having it?
I'll have a slice.
My body isn't mental.
No comment. Anyway, okay, that's it from us. Thank you to everyone for coming. We're going to meet up in March, which will send some details around if we can. One last big round of applause to all our speakers.